It's all about building that network and continuing to grow your brand. And like you said, is getting your food and your face and your brand in front of as many people as possible.
You know, sometimes there's right place, right time, but you can't repeat that. That's not repeatable, right? So what is repeatable is consistency. And what does your truck look like when, not only when you're parked next to another truck, right? Because that's really when you want to shine.
It's not the food that's on the truck, because like you said, like people don't even know what kind of food you have yet, or they've never tried your food, so they don't know if it's good or bad. So what draws them to your truck?
On the flip side of that, you shouldn't be sorry. We really gathered a lot of information from that perspective. So how do you get somebody to be able to have a successful concept or to be able to have a successful truck?
So I think, so we've talked about work ethic, right? Work ethic is probably the top priority on the list. The second thing I would say is identifying a concept and building a brand around it. So, and what I mean by that is you got to know what you're going to serve, not the individual items, but how people are going to identify you as a concept when you go out onto the truck or when you go out onto the road. I see a lot of trucks jump in and it's, Tommy's food truck or Adam's food truck, right? Or
Uncle Jay's barbecue.
Right. Well, at least it's got barbecue. Like, that it's barbecue, right? But Uncle Jay's, food truck.
Yeah, but when I say that, like Uncle Jay's barbecue, and then it's Uncle Jay holding a set of tongs.
Right. Yeah. See, and it works for some, but it's not something that I would hedge a bet on.
No.
Right. So, when you're in that initial...
My first concept, I was holding my tongs in my photo.
Yeah. Where's your truck at?
Yeah.
For other reasons, we were fairly successful.
Yeah. So, we
touched on that.
Going back to what can make you successful in this industry, it's really about identifying, what it is that you want to serve, or identifying a concept and then building a brand that is going to resonate with people and that people are going to be able to, identify you in the marketplace,
and not putting yourself in a specific niche. I think we identified that, because when you niche your cuisine, then you're stuck.
Right.
It's all about building that network and continuing to grow your brand. And like you said, is getting your food and your face and your brand in front of as many people as possible.
Right.
Yeah. Branding plays a huge factor.
Yeah. So
absolutely, and that's one of the things I think that you were trying to segue into.
Yeah.
Is it's not the food that's on the truck, because like you said, like people don't even know what kind of food you have yet, or they've never tried your food, so they don't know if it's good or bad. So what draws them to your truck?
Marketing. Not marketing, but branding. So
marketing, branding, and it's how you present yourself. Or how you present yourself amongst your peers.
What your truck looks like.
Yeah, amongst your peers.
Right.
There's so many little minute things that you can do to make yourself stand out that a lot of food truckers take for granted.
Yeah, they don't see the value in it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
like
something as small as lights on top of the truck.
Dude,
or lights underneath the truck.
Broski, I got stopped the other day at a stoplight. Ask Anita.
Yeah.
She will tell you. This guy came up, pulled up next to me, young cat. It was like, I don't know, probably like maybe 21, 22, something like that. And he was all gas, no brakes. Bro, that truck is so dope, this, that, and the other. Like, I ain't seen a truck like that. And I don't think ever, bro, I'm at a stoplight and he's like, promo, put me on camera. Like, bro, talk your shit, he says.
Yeah, on IG.
Yeah. Like, talk your shit, bro. Talk your shit. Like, go for it. And I was like, at that moment, those are the times to shine. Like, it's captivating.
Yeah. So I think it goes into like, how do you show up, right? What does your truck look like when, not only when you're parked next to another truck, right? Because that's really when you want to shine. When you're parked, when you're at a food truck rally or you're at an event and there's several vendors out there and you want to be able to stand out, right? But it's not just about that. It's what do you look like when you're parked on your own in front of an HOA or community or a corporate building, right? Is your truck clean? Does it look good? Do
you clean your coolers? Do you clean your menu boards?
Right.
Do you listen to me, bro? It's the little things.
No, absolutely.
He
is your trash can clean? Is your trash can out?
Right. And those are the things that, as a business owner, you have to be the one to see that, because your employees, it doesn't matter what you pay them. It goes back to that ownership piece, right? But your employees they're not going to be as engaged as you are. So it's very important that, you're paying attention to those details, because those details add up.
Yeah.
All those little things add up to a big thing, right? So we come from corporate America. We come from a retail background. And in retail, you've got checklists. There's checklists for everything, right? Why do you think those checklists exist? And,
standards.
Right. And you want to be able to meet those standards and exceed those standards. And a lot of people get out of corporate America and go into food trucking. We see it all the time. And they want to get away from structure. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that you can make as a business owner or as a new business owner.
I think that's what helped me out.
Well, structure is what makes you successful. Like, these companies didn't become successful by accident. Sometimes there's right place, right time, but you can't repeat that. That's not repeatable, right? So what is repeatable is consistency and building processes and operations that make you more consistent, right? So when you think about these establishments, and let's talk about food, right? So when you think about the McDonald's and the Burger Kings and the Chick-fil-A's, like, all of these places are successful because there's structure. There's checklists that their team goes through each and every day, right? There's standards, right? I can't tell you how many times we hear, as an organizer, I hear, well, I'm not going to work with you because you're not going to tell me what my truck should look like or what I can and cannot do. Well, guess what, buddy? Like, the clients that I am presenting you to, I am promising them a certain level of professionalism. I am promising them a certain level of expectation. I am promising them a complete product. And if you can't hold up your end of the bargain, if you can't run a clean truck who's proficient, who can pump food out, who's got high quality food, then you can't work with me as an organizer, and you shouldn't be in business.
And you shouldn't. On the flip side of that, you shouldn't be sorry. About those.
I'm not sorry about it. I'm not. And there's a lot of trucks in our market that
don't understand the being unapologetic.
Right. Right. And it's not an arrogance piece. And I think a lot of the times the people that know me personally know that I am not an arrogant individual, but I do have very high expectations out of me, out of myself, and out of anyone that I work with. 100%. Right. And that's not only at the partner. We're not talking about the partnership at this table, but I'm talking about my partnership of the 50 trucks that I help find work for. Right. If I send you out in front of a client, like, you've got to know and you've got to understand that I have very high expectations of what that shift looks like, right? From your arrival time, being there, 30 to 45 minutes, sometimes an hour before your shift begins, to how your truck runs through that shift, to your customer service. Because even though that's my client, you're interacting with it. You are the face of my company when you're out working a location, right? So that customer service, it can't just be, oh, well, you got to talk to Carlos about that. No, like, if there's an issue on site, figure it out and then circle back around with me, right? Obviously, if it's an issue that is outside of the scope of what a food truck would normally do,
I don't think the disclaimer was needed, but
give me a phone
it's
call.
good. Yeah.
Right, but the level of service and the expectations that we have for our partner trucks as an organizer, I think every truck should have those standards and those expectations of themselves, whether they work with an organizer or not. When you focus on what's not working, you can't identify it as a branding issue or as an overall issue. Well, this isn't working, so let's just overhaul the whole thing, right? You kind of have to take a deeper dive into it. So with Latin over the first 6 months, my menu changed 3 or 4 different times. And I originally started off as a Cuban sandwich truck based on a Tampa sandwich shop model, which in Tampa, sandwich shops are kind of like bodegas in New York City, right?
Yep.
Like they're on every corner.
Yep.
Everyone's got a Cuban sandwich. Everyone's got a steak sandwich, and those homemade sides and things like that. So I thought that was going to work on a food truck. And just because it works in a brick and mortar doesn't mean it translates to the road, especially when you're a mobile food truck. So, tacos were something that I never even thought I was going to do, even though I had a Latin food truck. It's just I'm Cuban and Cubans don't eat tacos,
right?
But every time we worked a shift, a customer would come up and say, hey, like, what kind of tacos do you have? And I had to tell those customers, we don't serve tacos. And it happened so frequently that I realized, hey, like, I am telling people no too much, too often. And I think we know that in retail, right? Like, no is almost like a bad word. Well, it should be in any industry, like the customer, you never want to put yourself in a position where you have to tell a customer no. Obviously, there are limitations to that. And I'm sure that we've all got stories to where,
to attest
the customer is not always right? But they are, right? So, I made the necessary changes and adaptations to where we found success, and we found success consistently.